The poem The Huntsman by Edward Lowberry. This poem comes under the theme humor. This is your first poem under this theme, humor. What is humor? Humor means, simply it means laugh. If laugh comes to your mouth by hearing or reading something, that reading or hearing is humorous. Funny, another similar term, funny. Funny story, funny event, humorous. Now, that is the main theme of this poem, to make the student delighted with humor. Okay. Now, this is really a narrative. What is narrative? A story. A story in a poetic mode. A story in a poetic mode. Right? Through poetry. Edward Lowberry selects a folk tale. A folk tale from Africa, Kenya, as the subject matter of this poem. Sometimes you may have done this with your school teacher. Now, main persona, character in this poem is Kagwa. You can see Kagwa. It's an African name. Kagwa is a professional hunter who kills animals in the forest. Kagwa does not hunt all animals, but only the selected animal, that is the lion. Now you can imagine, think, this hunter is not that simple hunter. He hunts only lions. We know the lions are very, very ferocious, dangerous, very strong animals, the fastest runner. Now it is with this animal Kagwa fights. Therefore, Kagwa must also be a very strong man to kill a lion. Kagwa has a weapon, not a modern weapon, but a primitive weapon. What is this weapon? Spear. Spear is a long pole, javelin. He uses this spear as weapon. Because this is all legend, all folk tale. One day, when this Kagwa goes hunting in the forest, he finds a talking skull. The skull of a man. The skull of a man. Human skull. Once you are dead, there is your skeleton with all your bones and skull. The skull is lifeless, but this skull is full of life because it can talk, speak. Kagwa speaks to this skull. Now I am telling you the story. that fork tail. Khagga spoke to this skull because he is also a lonely man in the forest. He must need someone to speak. Therefore, he speaks to this skull. Amazingly, wonderfully, this skull also opens its mouth and speaks. Unbelievable. Unbelievable discovery. Khagga has never seen such a thing in the forest. He's fascinated, not frightened. He's delighted. Wonderful discovery, wonderful discovery. What does the skull say? Only very few words. What are the words? Talking brought me here. Talking brought me here. These words have some meaning. What is the meaning? Your mouth. Your mouth should be used carefully. Your mouth should be used carefully in speech. Carefully in speech. Right? That's what the skull says to this hunter. But Khagga does not think of this thing seriously because, and he's physically very strong, but intellectually he's not strong, clever. He does not even understand the hidden meaning of these words, but this discovery is much more greater than the hidden meaning. Therefore, he runs back home. That day, he does not hunt anything, any lions. He runs home. Now, you know, when you have a hot news, you are eager to deliver it to someone, tell it to someone else. That is human nature. Khagga also returns home, but not his own home. He goes to the king's palace. King, he reports this, says this to the king. My lord, I met a skull in the forest. Amazingly, this skull can speak. It is a talking skull, my lord. Khagga says. The king is listening. He does not speak anything to this amazing story. After Khagga's story, the king says, Hunter, I do not believe what you say. I do not believe what you say. Because I have never seen, I have never heard about a talking skull. Therefore, your story may be a lie. Not true. Khagga is in danger now. Indeed, he directly comes to the king expecting some honor or some reward or praise. But king does not believe what he says. However, this king says, okay, I don't believe your story, but I will look into that story. I want to know you are telling a lie or you are telling a truth, king says. Now Khagga is in very dangerous situation. Very dangerous situation. And the king further says, huntsman, if you are telling a lie, you are dead. You are killed as a punishment. If you are telling the truth, no problem, you are saved. Now, Kagwa has nothing to do. Now, if he says that he did not find a talking skull, it becomes a lie. Death will come to him. Now, Kagwa has only one option. What is it? He has to find the talking skull again and prove. He has no evidence in his hands, no selfie, no screenshots, no photos, nothing to prove. The king orders his soldiers, two of you go with this Kagwa and find this talking skull. If the skull is found, and if the skull does not speak a single word, this Kagwa must be killed. Right. Now Kagwa's happiness disappears. He's a worried man now. He goes into the forest with the two soldiers and keeps searching for the skull several days. Finally, they find it, the skull. But in some other place, not in the former place. The skull has moved away, walked away, rolled away. Kagwa is very happy now. He's sure this is the talking skull. If the skull speaks, Kagwa's life is safe. If the skull does not speak, Kagwa loses his life. He speaks to the skull several times, but the skull is silent. It's a dead skull. Then the soldier says, Kagwa, you are a liar. You have told a lie to the king. Now king has orders. King's command is to kill you if you are found to be a liar. Now you are a liar. Kneel down. They cut off Kagwa's head. That is the end of this hunter. Because of his mouth, he loses his life. He fails to prove what he says. You know what happens finally. Now Kagwa's head is cut off on the ground. The skull is also there. After Kagwa's death, the talking skull opens its mouth. Very strange. Huntsman, how did you come here? He questions Kagwa. This time Kagwa answers, talking brought me here. Now what happens? Finally Kagwa understands mouth should be carefully used in speech. If not, we are lost. Now Kagwa is a wise man as well as another talking skull. There may be so many talking skulls in the forest, according to this story. Right. Now the idea is this. You may know something, you may have seen something, you may have heard something, but don't tell it to anyone until you have good evidence, verifiable evidence. Without evidence, don't say anything. because people will not believe you. If you have good evidence, even a screenshot or selfie or photo or anything else, you can prove it. Otherwise, be silent. Speech is silver. Silence is golden. It's an English saying. Write it down. Speech is silver. Silence is golden. What is valuable? Silence. Silent people are intelligent. Talkative people are not intelligent. They often fall into troubles because of their mouth, like the fish. Like the fish. Now let's read the poem. That is the narrative story of this poem, subject matter. It's very simple poem. The Huntsman. Khagwa hunted the lion. Through bush and forest went his spear. One day he found the skull of a man and said to it, "How did you come here?" The skull opened its mouth and said, "Talking brought me here." Now, it is humorous to see this dialogue between a living man and a dead man, right? Highly humorous. A living man speaks to a dead man. Not even a dead man, but only a skull. Right. And the skull also speaks back. Humorous point. Note it down. Khagwa hunted the lion. Now we know lion. The lion is symbolic of power, strength, pride. The lion. Khagwa hunted the lion. What does it mean? Khagwa is also powerful, strong man. He's a proud hunter because he hunts the proudest animal in the forest, the leader. Through bush and forest went his spear. What is the idea? Bush and forest means the jungle, thick forest. They are the barriers Khagwa has. They are the challenges Khagwa has in the forest. But his spear goes through them. What is the idea? Khagwa's spear has no challenge in the forest. His spear directly goes to the target. Nobody can stop it. No bush or no forest or no trees or any other thing may stop Khagwa's spear. It is very fast, steady, direct, and menacing. Right. That is the physical talents, the strength, his cleverness as a hunter. One day he found the skull of a man and said to it, "How did you come here?" Now you know hunters are lonely people. Because in the forest, there are no other people to speak. Now we human need to speak to someone because we are the only animal which can use our mouth to express feelings, ideas, comments, and so many things. Therefore, he speaks to this skull, just he speaks. But amazingly, wonderfully, unbelievably, this skull opened its mouth and said, "Talking brought me here." Now, Lowberry personifies the skull, giving it some life. He says, "Talking brought me here." The skull says, "Because of my mouth, I am here. Because of my speech, I am here." Kagwa does not understand this saying, the deeper meaning of this saying, because Kagwa is not that intelligent. He's physically strong, robust character, but mentally he's retarded, not intellectual or intelligent. He does not think of this even either. Therefore, he thinks only of this strange discovery, great discovery, talking skull. Kagwa hurried home, came home, went to the king's chair. King's chair means throne, the palace. That is the idea. He went to the palace and spoke. In the forest, I found a talking skull. He reports this to the king. My lord, I found a talking skull. The king was silent. The king is intelligent person. He does not believe what Kagwa says because it's too unbelievable. Then he said slowly, never since I was born of my mother. What is the idea? Since my birth from my mother, have I seen or heard of a skull which spoke? I have never seen or heard a talking skull. No heard of talking skull. This is king's position. The king does not believe. Why? Kagwa has no evidence. Kagwa has no material, physical things or material things or evidence to prove what he says. No logical evidence. He is silent. The king called out his guards, soldiers, but this king is a leader who thinks of the people's safety. Now, this is a dangerous story, dangerous news for the people. The king thinks of that. If there is really a talking skull, it is also dangerous. If Kagwa is really alive, it is also dangerous. Either way, it is dangerous. Therefore, king decides to look into this matter, find out the truth. That is the nature of true leaders. To find out the truth. Why? This is important. This is much needed for the country and the people. Two of you go with him and find this talking skull. But if his tale is a lie, if this man is a liar, if his tale is not true, if the skull speaks no word, if the skull does not speak a single word, Kagwa himself must die. Now, what is the reward Kagwa received? Death. Kagwa never expects such a thing from the king. Now he begins to realize, understand the words. Token brought me here. Now he realizes he is going to be in danger. His life is in danger because of his mouth. Without thinking, he reports this matter to the highest person of the country. That is the foolish thing he does. the most foolish thing. They rode into the forest. They means those soldiers. They rode into the forest. For days and nights, they found nothing. For several days, they do not find anything, but they do not give up. Hagba does not give up because his life now depends on the talking skull. If the skull is not found, he is a dead man. At last they saw the skull. Finally, after a thorough search through the forest, they find the talking skull. Kagwa is very happy. Very happy. Very happy. Why? Now his life is safe. His life is safe now. Kagwa thinks so. But ironically, it does not happen so. Iron. Kagwa implored, requested, pleaded. Implored means pleaded. Please speak a word. But the skull is silent. The guard said, kneel down, kneel down. Now Kagwa's last moment. The skull is silent. Kagwa is a liar. He has told a lie to the king. Now he has to obey the law. No option now, apart from obeying law. He kneels down. He bends his head for the soldiers to cut it off. He's very brave. He bravely faces. Kagwa is a brave man, we know that. He bravely faces his judgment. No option. Nobody can save him now. Only the talking skull could have saved him, but even it is silent. Kagwa is killed. They killed him with sword and spear. Sword. Then the skull opened its mouth. Now, ironically, you know what happens. After Kagwa's head is cut off, that treacherous talking skull opens its mouth. So long, he has been silent. He has been waiting to see Kagwa's death, waiting to see Kagwa's wisdom. If his wisdom has come to him, huntsman, how did you come here? Talking skull speaks. The dead man means Kagwa, answered, talking brought me here. Finally, wisdom occurs to Kagwa. Wisdom comes to him, but useless because he's a dead man now. Now, this story tells us the living people rarely have wisdom. Actually, that's true. Wisdom comes to us too late. Too late. It does not come to us when we need it. Wisdom. That is Lowberry's message. Because of that, because you are not wise, you use your mouth in the wrong way. This will bring the speaker disaster. Disaster, dangerous repercussions, results. That is the idea of this poem. Humorous, superficially it is humorous. Talking, that image of talking skull, Kagwa's death is also humorous. We feel sorry for him, but at the same time, laughter comes to us. They are humorous points. Kagwa's change of mood. He's a brave, delighted hunter, but at the end, he becomes a miserable person like the clown. helpless person, right? This change of mood is also humorous. They are the humorous aspects. Okay, that is the end of our discussion. Let's write down uh, that for your later readings. Okay, write down The Huntsman by Edward Lowberry. The Huntsman by Edward Lowberry. Write down the poet Edward Lowberry. Edward Lowberry was an English poet. Was an English poet. If you want much about this man, please refer to the internet and find out. Right. Then write down the subject matter. Next topic, the subject matter. Kagwa the hunter. Kagwa the hunter Kagwa the hunter one day finds a talking skull. Talking skull Talking skull when he goes for hunting. When he goes for hunting. He speaks to the skull, and the skull also speaks back. Speaks back. The talking skull that Tolkien brought him there. Tolkien brought him there, but Akbar does not understand. Akbar does not understand the hidden meaning, the hidden meaning of the skull's words. The skull's words. He reports this matter Akbar does not understand the hidden meaning of the talking skull's words. He reports this matter. He reports this matter He reports this matter to the king to the king. Go on writing. The king does not believe Akbar's story. The king does not believe Akbar's story, but he orders, his soldiers, two soldiers. He orders two soldiers to look into Akbar's story. He further orders that if Akbar's story is a lie, if Akbar's story is a lie, L-I-E, lie, he must be killed. He must be killed. After several days of search, the skull is found. The skull is found, but does not speak any words. Therefore, the two soldiers kill the hunter. The two soldiers kill the hunter. After death, Hagba also becomes another talking skull. Right. Comment. Write down. The poem, The Huntsman, Huntsman, carries, C-A-R-R-I-S, carries a tragic story, a tragic story of a hunter, tragic story of a hunter hunter with some humor and pathos, P-A-T-H-O-S, with some humor and pathos. Pathos means sorrow, sorrow. Full stop. The main theme of the poem, the main theme of the poem is not to speak about anything, not to speak about anything without any verifiable evidence. Without any verifiable evidence. Verifiable. V-E-R-I-A, sorry, V-E-R-I, fiable, F-I-A-B-L-E, verifiable evidence. without any verifiable evidence. Edward Lowberry. Edward Lowberry. Edward Lowberry. Selects. Edward Lowberry selects an African folk tale. An African folk tale African folk tale to convey this theme. To convey this theme to the reader. To the reader. Go on writing. The hunter known as Kagwa. The hunter known as Kagwa finds a skull, human skull, finds a human skull finds a human skull in the forest and when spoken to the skull, it also speaks back. It also speaks back. With some wise saying. With some wise saying. With some wise saying. Please quote these words. Talking brought me here. Talking brought me here. Go on writing. Haggai is a talented hunter. Haggai is a talented hunter who hunts only, who hunts only the ferocious lion, the ferocious lion. His, his spear, S-P-E-A-R, his spear has no challengers in the forest. Haggai is physically strong, but not wise. Not wise, W-I-S-C. Because he does not understand, because he does not understand the important meaning, the important meaning of the important meaning of the talking skull's words. Talking skull's words. The talking skull warns Kagwa. The talking skull warns, W-A-R-N-S, advice. The talking skull warns Kagwa not to speak about anything, not to speak about anything without any verifiable evidence. Without any verifiable evidence. E-V-I-D-E-N-C-E. Evidence. Next paragraph. Without understanding the true meaning of the talking skull's words, he reports this matter to the king proudly, proudly. Proudly. Unfortunately, The king does not believe the hunters strange story. Please quote. Never since I was born of my mother have I seen or heard of a skull which spoke. Go on writing. Go on writing. However, however, the king decides. However, the king decides to investigate. investigate. Look into. To investigate into this matter because if it is true or false, if it is true, TRUE, true or false, FALSC, true, false, true or false, it affects dangerously, it affects dangerously to the peace of the country, to the peace, PEACE, peace of the country. The king commands 2 soldiers or 2 guards. The king commands 2 guards to investigate the matter, to investigate the matter and to punish Hagwa, and to punish Hagwa with death, DEATH, with death if he is, if he is found to be, if he is found to be a liar, if he is found to be a liar. Now Kagwa's life depends on the truth or falsehood, depends on the truth or falsehood of his story. And and only the talking skull and only the talking skull may save him, may save him. May save him. After many days of search, after many days of search, the talking skull is found. But unfortunately, it does not speak. It does not speak a single word, a single word, single word. The hunter, the hunter pleads with, the hunter pleads with the hunter pleads with the talking skull, but it remains silent. But it remains silent, bringing death, bringing death to the hunter. Next paragraph. The end of the poem is ironic and also full of humor, full of humor, and pathos, 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 pathos. Hagwa is killed and his head is cut off. Head is cut off. But Kagwa does not really die. But Kagwa does not really die. He is reborn. R-E-B-O-R-N. He is reborn as another talking skull. He is reborn as another talking skull. Please quote. Huntsman, how did you come here? And the dead man answered, Tolkien brought me here. Go on writing. After Kagwa's death, the talking skull begins to speak. He speaks not to save. He speaks not to save. He speaks not to save Hagwa's life, but to check his, or test, T-E-S-T, test his wisdom, to test his wisdom. And to see if he has fully understood if he has fully understood the meaning of the saying, the meaning of the saying is A-Y-I-N. The meaning of the saying, Tolkien brought me here. Please highlight. Meaning of the saying, Tolkien brought me here. Hagwa has fully realized that meaning. Now he knows that without any logical evidence, speaking about some matter is dangerous. Speaking about some matter is dangerous. Write down. Next, theme. Theme. The poem has two levels of theme. Two levels of theme. On the superficial level, there is humor and pathos. Full stop. When realized, when deeply analyzed, it is implied it is implied that one should speak one should speak in a very careful way and they should be responsible they should be responsible for what they speak for what they speak. Full stop. The theme of humor is mainly brought about mainly brought about by the images of hunter, and the personified talking skull, the personified talking skull. It is humorous to see a living man and a dead skull, living man and a dead skull in conversation. Right. They write down techniques. First one, first one, third person point of view. The poem is a narrative about a hunter and the story is narrated by the poet. Next technique, personification. Personification. Write down the dead human skull. The dead human skull is personified is personified into a living man, into a living man. Next technique, Symbols, SYMBOLs. The lion is symbolic of strength, power, pride, PRID, pride, and bravery. It also refers to REFERRS, refers to Kagwas, physical strength and bravery. Because he hunts the lion, he hunts the lions. Next technique, inversion. Change of word order. Inversion means change of word order. Got these lines? Never since I was born of my mother have I seen or heard of a skull which spoke. Go right in the above lines. In the above lines, the order of the English word or English word, the order of the English words in a sentence has been changed to bring about the desired, DESIRED, desired sound effects. desired sound effects. The common word order is, please quote, I have never seen or heard of. I have never seen or heard of. Right. Next technique, narrative method. Write down. The poem is written. The poem is written in the storytelling method. The writer uses, or the poet uses, the characters and their direct speeches. Next technique, sound devices. Sound devices are not effectively used, but here and there, they are used. Sound devices, number one, alliteration. Alliterati, alliteration. Please quote. Nice alliteration is hurried home. Her sound. Hurried home. skull speaks. So the skull. You can find out more. Then rhyming. Rhyming. Spear here. They rhyme. Lion, man. You can find some more. Lie, die. Lie, die. Right? Next technique, repetition. R-E-P-E-T-I-T-I-O. Repetition. The most important line of the poem. The most important line of the poem is repeated twice. T-W-I-S-E, twice. Please caught. Talking brought me here. And how did and how did you come here? How did you come here? How did you come here? Okay. That's all about techniques and also the poem. We have discussed completely uh, that poem. Next, we have to discuss some contextual questions. Okay. Now, I sent you those contextual questions to the group. You can write them down. And for the moment, this is the screen sharing. The huntsman. Okay. Try to answer the first and the second question. First and the second question.